shadow of death, and I fear no evil because I'm blind to it all.
Hey, what's up guys, you're watching Wayfinder. My name is Rocky. Today's video is going to be part 3 to my series on how to attract women as an introvert. Now for those of you who haven't watched the previous episodes and you want to do so, the cards will be up above here. Part 1's card will be first, and then part 2's card will follow shortly thereafter. Now before I start all my videos, I want to announce that there will be timestamps down below here in the video scroll bar, so for those of you who are busy and you don't have enough time and you just want to skip ahead, feel free to do so. But for those of you who, you're here for the long haul, you want to watch the entire thing, then sit back, relax, and enjoy. This video, I have a lot of notes here on the side and a lot of nuggets of wisdom, a lot of lessons to impart for you guys, so this is going to be a good one. So, how to attract women as an introvert. Let's begin. The culmination from my previous episodes, what I realized in my life in terms of dating and relationships is that, don't take dating too seriously when you're young. Young meaning like teens, early 20s, late 20s, maybe even early 30s. Early 30s you can kind of start to get a bit more serious because it's a fact of life that on average, growth takes time, especially for us men. Men, we reach our prime around the 30s and 40s. It's very rare and it's an exception that a dude who's in his early 20s or a bit late 20s is going to be in his prime. It's a very rare exception. So it takes time for us to grow, especially for us introverts. Why? Because when we are younger, we tend to be a bit insecure and we feel like we're not good enough. The reason why is because as we grow up, we're always in the world of the extrovert. When you're in school, they tell you to raise your hand, they tell you to answer in class, you gotta engage in different groups, you gotta have different friends, you gotta have different clubs and all that. This is the extroverted world. So you may not feel comfortable in that world, and so you may feel insecure. But if you do the things that I said in episode 1 especially, you will start to see that you can accomplish stuff much faster than the extroverts can. Why? For example, inner value. All of these things, inner value, outer value, having your own stuff, having cash, and then standing out and being unique, all these 4 things you can build by yourself. In fact, I believe that you can build it faster and much more sustainably by yourself. Because if you're in the extroverted world, you go out to the clubs, you want to engage in people. When you engage in people, you don't have time to work on yourself. When you're in the gym working out, you work out bicep curl 1 here. If a person does a bicep curl over there in the corner, do you get any buffer? No, you have to work out by yourself. You gotta study by yourself. And usually if you study or you work with other people, it's kind of like you're kind of stunting the progress. So I do believe that because introverts are comfortable with their time alone, they tend to build the value much faster. And once you grasp this, you can really level yourself up in life. But as I said in episode 2, when you focus a lot on leveling yourself up, working out, your career, studies, whatever, you're building yourself in that skill tree that you kind of put off upgrading yourself in terms of social dynamics, in terms of relationships. So even if you're rich, even if you're buff, you can kind of still fail and flop in relationships. So this is the problem that we have to address today. Now, from all the years of dating, all the bullshit experiences, all the mistakes that I made, and even the wins and the good things that I did, I took note of them, and then I fine-tuned a certain system that seemed to work out for me. And I'm sure it will work out for you, but you have to keep in mind that you got to do everything that I said previously in terms of the inner value, outer value, having stuff that you own, and being able to self-express yourself, standing out from the crowd. If you have that, then you can follow along with this one. The sequence, this bulletproof sequence is, step 1, you gotta approach a girl somehow. You gotta approach her. How are you gonna get her number? How does she know that you exist, right? Faster the better, because if you hang around like a beta male, that's the image that you're gonna have in her mind. So faster you get to approach her and actually let her know that you're interested, the better. Get her number, get her Instagram, whatever, Instagram handle, and set the date. That's step 2. Set the date. Text messaging, as I mentioned in episode 2, text messaging should only be used to set dates. Never to talk about your life, explain who you are, because once you're on the date, what you're going to talk about if you explained everything in your day, right? But in the beginning, you'll notice that you will have to do the setting of the dates first. But as time goes on, she will start to, it's funny that the girl will start to initiate the dates more. Now, if you're really a high value man and she perceives it as such, the first date actually may be initiated by her. She may ask you out on that first date. So, you know, even better for you guys, right? Step number 3, when you're on the date, as I said, have fun. Just have fun. Be lighthearted. Don't expect anything out of it. Don't expect to sleep with the girl. Just have fun. Have a good time. And mostly listen than talk. Now, this is something that is a strength for all introverts. I realized this when I was younger, especially when I asked my dad. My dad is an introvert, and I asked him, how did you get my mom? How did you have relationships? My dad said, it's pretty easy. You just listen to the girl. Ask good questions and listen to the girl. That's it. Because the girl will do the talking, and from there you will be able to spot green flags, you'll be able to spot potential red flags, and you get to hear information that you can use for future dates. For example, if she mentions she likes sushi, you're gonna register that in your mind, but you play it nonchalantly. You don't say like, oh, you like sushi, let me take you on a date next time. No, you just take it in your mind, just like, okay, cool, yeah, that's nice, you know. Take it in your mind, because that sushi, you can use that in the future. If she says, I like puppy dogs, or I don't like puppy dogs, so you know in your mind that next in the future, you don't mention anything about puppy dogs, you don't mention anything that she doesn't like. You know, she mentions like, oh, I like this type of flower. So you're like, okay, mental note that when it's Valentine's Day, or if this girl turns out to be good future potential, I know which flower to get her. So always listen more than you talk, because the girl will always reveal herself, the good, the bad, and the good information, right? After that, if you did have a really good time, step 4 is hook up if necessary. Sometimes the night will end and she wants you to come to her place and you have sex. It's fine. You know, if necessary, it's necessary. If it happens, it happens. It's good, right? But if you're on the first date, don't worry. Usually if you follow these steps and you're a man of value, you'll on average get to sleep with the girl either in the second date or the third date. And number 5 is you end on a good note. This is very important. You don't end in an argument, you end on a good note. It's like a perfume. When you spray it on your shoulder, then you pass away. The perfume is what's left, you know, it's the image that you have in your mind that when you left, that's what she's going to use to think and process the things that happen, if you're going to determine if she's going to like you more or disqualify you. This is very important for you guys, because a girl's interest with you will grow more, actually, ironically, and a girl's interest will grow more when you're absent, when you're not there, because she processes how she feels. When you're with her, the important thing is to leave a good impression, have fun, you know, set the vibe going. But once you go away, that's when actually the attraction really develops. So that's why you gotta leave, you gotta be busy. But if you're a high value man, this is already second nature. Don't pretend, you know. Short-term solutions will result in short-term results. And then once you leave, you basically rinse, wash, and repeat. Just go through the steps again. Step 1, no, you don't have to do step 1 because you already approached her. So step 1 now is set the date. And then you just go through the same thing, over and over again. It's kind of funny, but this is how it works. This is the key thing here, because you're a high value man, you're busy, you got stuff to do, you got to keep your dates to a minimum. As I said, you don't take dating too seriously. Sometimes most of you guys will be dating 1 or more girls, right? So keep dates to a minimum, maximum 1 date a week. And then once you see that this is a good long-term potential, then you can start to do 2 days a week, and then 3 days a week, and then 4 days a week. Ideally, you're already in a relationship. When it comes to relationships, this is one thing that I'll have to mention, is that the girl is the one that determines the relationship status. It's not the guy. This is the important thing. You as a man, you just focus on the steps that I laid out above and building your value. While you're dating, have fun. Don't take things too seriously, and just keep learning more about her and just giving off like scraps of information of yourself. That's why I said listen more than you talk. This is the element of mystery here. And funnily enough, ironically, they say that the most interesting man in the world, the most interesting people in the world are usually the most interested. They're interested in the other person's life. So the other person is talking and talking and talking. You know, for us, you know, the best thing that we like to feel is to feel listened to. So the girl naturally is the same. So you can be the most interesting option for her. If all you do is just ask good questions and listen to her. Really listen to her, not pretend to listen to her. That's the important thing. And if you go through these steps, eventually the girl will initiate more dates, And then eventually she'll drop the question. She will ask you, what are we? And then from there, you can have a chat. If you really like this girl for the long term and you spotted good green flags, then you can say like, we can take things to the next level and we can start dating. And sometimes some girls, you know, they're special. They want a special fancy thing. They don't want you just to ask them in the cafeteria or whatever. You have to bring her out somewhere special and then announce that, okay, you know, I'm gonna put all the other options to the side. I want to date you seriously. Let's make this a committed relationship. But let the girl ask the question. The girl is the determinant of the relationship status. Even when it comes to things like I love you, let the girl say I love you first before you. It's not really a technique because you as a man, you're the logical one. So why are you emotional saying I love you first? Right? You have to get to know this girl. You got to get to know this girl. Is she good potential 5 years down the line? Is she good potential 10 years down the line? And I've always done this. I was always the second person to say I love you. Sometimes I see the girl's like, I want to say it. I want to say it. Say what? And she says, I don't want to say it because you're not saying it. I'm like, I know exactly what she's talking about. You don't say I love you just to please her. When you say it, it should be genuine. It should come from the heart. And when it's genuine, the girls will read that from you. Girls are more they're more intuitive and they know when you're lying and when you're not. They can smell it off you easier than a guy can. And not only will she trust you more, she'll see that you saying that I love you is a win on her part. She succeeded in conquering you. It's simple psychology, really. It's like for you guys, the more you invest into something, the more attached to it you are, right? And the more like you put into something and then you win suddenly, you're like, whoa, I cherish it more. I cherish the thing more. It's like you won. It's like a prize. It's not a prize if it's easy, if you just take one step and the guy says I love you. It's you're more of a prize if it really takes genuine time and effort and the girl knows that you're kind of skeptical. The girl knows that you're always keeping an eye out. The girl knows that you're holding your frame and you become a prize when you do that, right? Alright, so that's a lot of information out of the way. I'm going to be going to the next part, which is how to vet women, really looking for the green flags, really looking for the red flags, and probably a little bit of tips here and there on how to improve your attraction to women. The first one that I want to mention is when you're dating her, the girl will always have her phone somewhere. It's easy. Sometimes you walk beside her, you will be able to see the phone. Go somewhere where you can see the phone, but do it nonchalantly, please. Don't like look over super obvious. No, just do it nonchalantly. What do they have on the phone screensaver, on the phone display? Why? Because there's the difference between girls and guys. And if you've lived a fair number of years on this world and you're observant, you'll notice that there's a difference between girls and guys when it comes to the phone screensaver. Guys, we're mostly outward focused. We like to put cars. We like to put maybe buildings. We like to put a goal. We like to put a quote. We like to put something outside. Girls, what you'll notice is the majority of the girls on the phone display, they will have themselves like this or themselves in a filter or themselves in particular. And I find it funny. I've always asked girls like, why do you do this? I don't know. Okay. Girls are inward focused. They're focusing the world inside on themselves. That's why they look at themselves in the mirror all the time. That's why they're inward focused. That's the difference between girls and guys. And by looking at the phone display, you can see how unique this girl is and what she really treasures, but does not really portray the girl's personality at all if her photos on this display. But one thing you can use here is like if there's a picture of a boy and her, then you know that she has a boyfriend, you know she has a husband, you know that she's attached, right? It's obvious. If she has a dog or if she has something that's outside, if she has a quote, if she has a picture of buildings, if she has a picture of mountains, if she has something outside, not her, that's actually a good sign. This is a good sign. It means that she's not as conceited. It means that she's different. That's why I put this tip here. Always pay attention to what a girl has on the phone display. And if you haven't noticed it before, you look at the difference, it's funny. Most girls will have themselves on the phone display. Number 2, and this is a green flag. That's why it's important when you approach a girl. That's why I mentioned that it's better to get her Instagram handle or whatever social media that she has. If she doesn't have a social media, even better. It means that she's not super attached to the world and the trends and doesn't give a shit about that. The green flag here is if she's not flashy on social media. What does flashy mean? It's like, you know, those people who are like it's fine if you're getting money out of being flashy and posting your bum, but even that, you know, if you have to post your bum next to, like, the bum is this size taking up this much room, and then the product is only there or behind the bum in the corner, that's kind of funny, right? But if she is posting but then she has like really big, it's fine, she's getting money out of it. But if the girl is not getting money out of it, she's flashing for a reason, and it's for the whole world to see. So if she has like partly nude photos, what's the benefit of you again getting with her? Because when you get with a girl, you sleep with her, you see her tits, you see her down there, you see the ass. It's supposed to be a win for you, right? But if other men can see it, what then is the benefit with you again getting with her? Maybe the sex, that's it. But you know, there has to be a sense of modesty around the girl, and this will separate. This is really a red flag if they are very flashy for no reason, they're not getting money out of it. And if they're not flashy, it's a green flag for you. And also on social media, you gotta pay attention to the captions that she puts on the picture, because you can see how they think, or if they even think in the first place, right? Because sometimes it's just quotes or quotes in the captions. I'm like, well, you just copy paste that, and if it doesn't even match the photo, you're like, what is this, right? Or sometimes they post something, but the good quality here one is like when you look at the captions and you see that they are thinking, they write poems, they are creative, they have opinions. That is good. Better than, you know, the meh, you just quotes, or just like, oh, or smiley face or emoji or whatever. But emojis are fine, because emojis show that you have to take it in a context, in a cluster. If the girl is not flashy on social media and she just has emojis or no caption whatsoever, it means she's just posting just to post. She's not going to be there and too flashy on social media. And this is an extra tip, that while you're here already in the social media and you really want to date this girl, you see that she's good potential, you kind of have to minor-stalk the girl. Again, nonchalantly. Please, when you're scrolling, don't let your fat fingers accidentally double tap and then the heart comes out. You're like, oh, fuck, unlike. She's gonna get the notification either way, so don't do that. Minor-stalk her nonchalantly. Try not to comment. Don't comment because it's creepy, you don't really know her. Comment only when you do get to know her, and it's better to comment in person, right? So that she knows that you didn't stalk her. Minor stalk her, why? Because you gotta look at her interests. You gotta look at what she likes to do, and also to see if they're a good fit for you. Because if they're always out in the club and you're an introvert, you don't like to go out to the club, you know, it's not a good fit long term. If you want the experience of being more adventurous and you want that energy, or you want that woman to take you out of your introverted side, it's fine. That's exactly what you gotta go for. But you have to see if it's gonna be a good fit. The best way to do that is on social media, because they put out, usually women will put out, men also will put out what they truly value in life. And if you're a good fit and you look at their posts, there will be possible conversation topics that you can bring up in the future, because you know exactly what they're interested in, and things like, you're like, oh, she likes, let's say, plants. If you don't know jack shit about plants, this minor stalking will help you, because you can then do the research about plants, and then maybe, who knows, you're gonna take it as a new hobby. You're always growing and expanding, right? So when you're with her, you can then talk about plants and you're gonna come off as a more interesting person. But please don't pretend. It comes with the spirit of being curious about the world and learning more things. And when she knows that you are learning more about things, you're like, oh, cool, he wants to learn more about garden, about plants. It's all good. So even if you minor stalked her on Instagram or social media, you see if she's flashy or not, if you're a good fit or you're not. If she's not flashy, it's a good thing. Not all the time. That's the caveat and the nuance here. Because girls, there are some girls, and I have that experience with a Brazilian. She was not flashy on Instagram. She only had, like, when I checked back when we were dating, she had like, what, 5 or 6 photos on Instagram, and they were not even flashy. She was there, or it was a plant, or she was there but super far away. You'd think like, oh, it's good, right? No, sometimes, you know, don't judge a book by its cover. You gotta know the girl personally, and even the nice looking ones, because this girl, she was nice looking. She was like Brazilian, very cute, very feminine. The nice looking ones are usually the ones who are most promiscuous and the most naughty in the bed. So you gotta keep an eye out for that, guys, and you'll never know until you date the woman. That's why you gotta date a woman first, right? And when you date, don't take things too seriously, because if you see this like, oh, she's not flashy, she's a good potential green flag, ding, and then you go with a girl, take her seriously, and then you realize, oh, she's actually promiscuous. You see, don't take things too seriously. That's what I did with this Brazilian girl. I saw green flag, okay, go, proceed. And then once you're with a girl, you realize, this is the funny thing, when you befriend a girl or when you're close to a girl, you realize that you'll understand the red pill so much more than if you're just hanging out with dudes. Because the girls will tell you things about their life, the guys that they slept with, what the guys did wrong. They will also make fun of the beta males who tried to pursue them. And this is what thing that happened with me and this Brazilian girl. We were dating and she was just making fun of the beta males that tried to approach her. We were dating, but not in a serious way. Actually, nobody even knew about it. I was just contacting her, message, setting dates. That's it. Very clandestine, very low key. So other dudes at work, this was at work, were still like trying to pursue her. And when we were dating, she was just making fun. Oh, you know, guess who asked me on a date? Oh, this guy. Guess who asked me on a date? Oh, this guy. This guy made a fool of himself because he did this. And we were just laughing. You will understand that girls always have options. They're always there. So you gotta step up your game. If you want a certain woman, you gotta date them properly. Have fun. Leave the date on a good note, because if you don't have fun, if she gets a weird vibe from you, if you leave on a bad note, there's always someone ready to replace you. And that's why you always have to continuously maintain and upgrade yourself in terms of your high value. Because if you don't, there are other guys in the four corners of the world who are constantly upgrading their value. And if you slack on a certain aspect, you're gonna be easy to replace. So never stop, you know. That's why you gotta be busy. That's why in the beginning you gotta keep your dates to a minimum. Because the more time that you spend with a girl, as I said, the extroverted thing, the more time you spend with other people, more time you spend with a girl, the less time that you got on your purpose, the less time that you got to upgrade yourself. Another red flag that I want to speak about is a girl who accommodates guys even though she's already in a relationship, in a committed relationship. Because a lot of guys, you know, you feel like you're cool, you're like, oh cool, you know, she got with me even though she's with the other dude, you know, that guy's a beta compared to me. Yeah, but if she cheated on him with you, guess who's gonna be the lucky guy who's gonna be next? Probably you, because it's already in her nature to cheat. If it's in her nature to cheat, the clock is ticking until you are next. And this is what happened with me in another Brazilian girl. Fuck my life. When I talked, I did a video a long time ago about me pursuing this thing called 75 hard. Now I got into like a road accident, broke my wrist, kind of sprained my ankle, and I was kind of paralyzed for couple months. Even I had like a scar on the back of my head and I couldn't even think. My short-term memory was kind of fucked up. I'm better now, thank God. But I did this thing called 75 hard, which is like, it's like kind of it's like a fitness thing where you work out twice a day, drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages of a book. It's self-improvement type of program. It's for free. You can check it out yourself. 75 hard. And while on this journey, I wanted to go back to who I was and become even better, try to become even better. I challenged myself and I put the stories on Instagram. So for those of you who want to see it, you can go to my Instagram handle at Rocky Perez with 2 Z's and see, like in the highlights, my story highlights, 75 hard 1, 2 and 3, my growth throughout that process. Because the 75 hard, it's like consistency. You have the results. You see that from day 1 to day 30, you clearly look so different. You stand out from the average people, because which person does 2 workouts in a day? Nobody. And, you know, this is what I experienced. There was respect, both respect from dudes and a little bit of hate from other dudes. But it's fine, you know, who gives a fuck? That's how you build a thicker skin. But the important thing is the respect from the women. Girls at the time who didn't give me the time of day were eyeballing me or giving me, like, they were more feminine around me. This, as I said, this Brazilian one was one of them. He was one of the work colleagues that I had. And during that time, she would always bring it up. Hey, I saw your story. You look really good. Oh, like, oh, you're carrying a stone for your workout. Or, oh, I didn't know that you can do pull-ups that way. Or stuff like that. And the thing is, also in this 75 hard, I started taking up like things like spearfishing. No, before I did spearfishing a long time ago. But I did spearfishing even more. I did kayaking now. And so these things are like elements of adventure. And then she mentioned like, oh, I saw you kayaking. You know, one day I want to join you. And let me know when it's convenient. So we set a date. We did a kayak. She rode the kayak with me and all that. And on this kayak, she said that I love you. And I'm like, fuck my life. You know, I love you, but I know that you're in a serious relationship. That's a red flag. So I ended things not explicitly, but implicitly, in the way that over time I gave less and less attention to her, less and less energy. because there's no use getting with a girl who is already in a committed relationship. And if a girl says I love you to another dude, imagine you're the boyfriend and your girlfriend says I love you to another dude, what does that say, right? And you know, it's my life with Brazilians, you know, I don't know if it's something with Brazilians. That's why you gotta pay attention to the culture, because some cultures, it's the truth of the fact that some cultures, people in culture tend to be more promiscuous than other people. There are some cultures that tend to have more conservative and traditional values, and some cultures that are more open. And knowing this, if you have a global mindset, you've gone to the east and to the west, and you don't like it in the west, you can always relocate to another place, especially if you have inner value, outer value, you have cash, and you stand out and you're able to self-express yourself. You have an abundance mentality. You relocate to wherever you want, my friend. You have that freedom. So that's the important thing here. You gotta pay attention to the culture also. That's a green/red flag depending on what culture it is. But always, as I said, there's nuances, because there are people who are always different. Even if there's a Brazilians are known to be promiscuous or having fun all the time, not taking life seriously. There may be Brazilians that are the opposite. Of course, granted, give them some slack, right? That's why it's always good to date them first, get to know them first. Fuck my life, guys. The battery of this camera is about to die, so I've got to charge this. It's gonna take some time. I only have one battery for this camera. It's gonna take some time, so I think it's best that I cut this video short and leave the next, you know, the rest of the information for part 4. Other red flags and other green flags. Don't worry, the series is about to be done. So if you like this, do like. If you have any thoughts, do comment them down below, and if you haven't already, do consider subscribing. Very sorry for this inconvenience, guys, but you know, you spread out the fun like butter on bread. You know, you don't just bloop and then put it on the butter. As I said, spread it out evenly. So that's it, my friends. Till next time.